stress? Is it to sell a product or to develop yourself as a better person? Are they more interested in you selling for them or developing you? Those are some of the gut, kind of instinctive things you have. Another thing I say is look to the leaders first, because many times in network marketing businesses, they have a lot of people who are just starting out and, they're in the same boat you are. Mm-hmm. What you want to check out is who are the leaders, where they come from, and how committed are they to you becoming like them.
And make sure they want to develop me as a person first before developing their product and going out there and selling it.
That's correct. So the way I came across network marketing, I had a negative reaction to it. In the 1970s, when I was looking for new education and new answers, somebody says, I'd like to show you a business opportunity. So I went to this meeting, and I sat down there, and I listened to it, and that was the first time I ever heard the word network marketing. So I wasn't turned off, but I was turned off a little later on when I realized that I really didn't understand what they're trying to say to me. And then I walked out of the meeting simply because I can build a business. The reason I had a rich dad, the reason I build corporations today, is because my rich dad trained me to be a B quadrant individual. So I was a little turned off, but I also really didn't respect the education they were offering because I kind of already had it. But I'll just say one thing. Why I was attracted to the business was the word network or networking. And let me just say this about that word. I talk a lot about the power of words. Words are very, very important. There's words of rich people and words of poor people. Having two dads, I realized that both dads spoke the English language, but they didn't speak the same words. My dad spoke the language or had the vocabulary of a school teacher, German, geometry, trigonometry. And my rich dad had the words of a business owner, discounted cash flow, internal rates of return, and things like this. They're different words. So my rich dad really respected the word network. What he said to me was this: the richest people in the world build networks. Everybody else looks for work. And the reason he said network was such an powerful word, you look at John D. Rockefeller, founder of Standard Oil. What he did was he built a network of refineries, distribution, as well as gas stations. That's why he was such a rich man. Again, I'll say it, for rich people, the word network is a very, very good word. So when I heard network marketing, I was turned on. You look at when they call it a television network. The richest people own networks. General Motors is a network of car dealerships. That's why they're such a powerful company. So I'll say this again. For the rich, the word network is a very powerful word. For many people who are like me at the start, kind of turned off by the word network marketing, they really don't know what they're looking at. What they do not see is they're looking at an opportunity to build one of the most powerful businesses in the world, a network marketing business. And so it is in the word. I saw that, but I didn't respect it simply because I kind of understood it. I was starting to build my own network of, I had a nylon Velcro wallet business, and I was building my network of distributors and retail outlets throughout the U.S. I understand the power of networks. The average person doesn't.
I never looked at it that way before. That's a great point. Let me ask you, Robert, you keep mentioning the cash flow quadrant and the importance of the B and the I side. What is the cash flow quadrant, and how does that tie into your value number 2?
Okay. Cash flow quadrant is about the 4 different people found in business. The 4 people that make up the world of business, the biggest number are E quadrants, which is employee. My rich dad says you can always tell an employee because they always say the same thing. I'm looking for a safe, secure job with benefits. But they're looking at the core for security. Okay. The S quadrant is the self-employed, small business, or specialist. Those are often the doctors or plumbers, electricians, small retail outlets. These are the rugged individuals. When they say, I'm going to quit this job and go out on my own and do my own thing, they generally go from E to S, and they stay small. It's one of the hardest quadrants because the employees pick on you as well as the government. You get tax problems and employee problems. And the problem with the S quadrant is that you can't quit working. In other words, you don't own a business, you own a job. Like a dentist, if most dentists stop drilling, their income stops also. So that's why there's small business versus the B quadrant with big business. Big business are people like Bill Gates, Michael Dell, Henry Ford, John D. Rockefeller. They build networks and networks of systems. They hire smart people, and they can do more and more while working less and less. The problem with the employee side, the left side of the quadrant, and the self-employed, also on the self-employed side, is in order for them to make more money, they often have to work harder. That's why the income potential for the E and S side is often capped or limited.
Okay.
That's why many times most people in the S quadrant cap out at around 110, 125,000. Now that's not bad. And most of the E quadrant, oftentimes the average guy is happy to make 50,000. The B side, the big business owner, they're unlimited. The B quadrant makes more money than rock stars, sports stars, movie stars. While the E and the S are happy to make millions, the B side can go for the billions because the B quadrant, which is where most network marketing companies are, their income potential is virtually unlimited because networks are unlimited. The I quadrant is the investor. That's the person who takes money and makes their money work harder than they do. So unfortunately, our school system still trains people primarily for the S quadrant, go to school and get a job, job skills, or trade skills, the S quadrant, doctor, lawyer, plumber, electrician. Network marketing trains people for the B quadrant, and that is the richest quadrant in the world. I'm not saying you have to want to be rich. This is what I'm going to say here. If you want to change, what you want to do is change quadrants. In other words, you don't want to go from job to job, which is the E quadrant, or E to S, which is my rich dad called psycho S, because you had to be Superman or a soloist, or you have to be a real star. It's hard. Like Tiger Woods is a star, not too many guys are going to beat Tiger Woods. So you said you have a better chance to be successful and rich in the B quadrant. So network marketing companies, the good ones, they have educational programs that take you from the E and the S to the B side. And as I said earlier, that's not an overnight process. It really is a change of core values, a different way of looking at things, a different context, a different paradigm. So once you find a company you want to hang out with or work with, allow yourself at least 5 years. Give yourself the time, hang out with new people, gain new skills, new realities, new values, and make that change slowly. I wouldn't expect to do it overnight. It took me years to make that change because I came from a family that really believed in high education and job security. It was a value they had. It was not my rich dad's values. So that's what I mean by the difference between the E, S, and the B and the I. The beauty of a network marketing corporation, when people ask me, how do I make the change from the left side, the E and S side, to the B and I side, I say one of the best things you can do is join a network marketing corporation, simply because they'll change you from the inside as well as the outside. They'll have the support to have you make that change. I was fortunate that I had a rich dad and a bunch of other mentors to help me. But if you don't have that right away, then join a network marketing company. Even if you don't sell anything, hang out with them, spend time with them, go to the meetings, make new friends, and change the way you think and change the way you look at the world.
It changes your mindset from the E and the S side, and it helps you transition into the B side.
Yeah, that's very important. So the transition is more important. The beauty of a network marketing business, if you want to make $1,000 a month, good, stop there. But you also have the potential to make billions if you want to. That is the power of network. That is the power of the word network marketing. And once you can understand it and fully grasp it in your mind, your heart, and your soul, the change will be permanent and you'll never want to go back.
Which leads right into value number 3, the value of access into the B quadrant and how important it is to be in that B quadrant.
Right. When people say, I want to build my own business, I think sometimes they don't know how much money it takes or how much skill it takes and how much courage it takes. The reason franchising back in the 50s and 60s became popular was because it was a low-risk, low-cost way of making that transition from E and S to B and I. So your franchise is in the B quadrant like McDonald's or something like this. So you buy an operating system that is almost a no-fail system. Banks will lend you money for some franchises, but it won't let you money to start your own business because the failure rate is too high. So the beauty of a network marketing business is that it's low cost, probably less than $100 to maybe $300 to get in, where McDonald's is at least $1 million in a year's worth of time. So it's a low entry way for people to get the education, and like I say, the greatest value is education, to get into that quadrant. Nightingale Conant also has great products along that line too. Your inventory of great masters and great leaders is exceptional. One of the great tape sets you guys have is The Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn. Beautiful, beautiful tape set. For those of you who need the inspiration, the spirit to carry on, even though sometimes you doubt yourself, Jim Rohn's work and Jim Rohn's ideas are priceless. So for those of you who are thinking about making the change, you may want to contact Nightingale Conant and look at that tape set because it's a brilliant set to help you make those changes.
Through that 5 years of period, you said it's a learning curve that it takes, or it's
well said.
A 5-year transition to stick with it.
Yeah.
But commitment's a scary word for guys, though.
Oh,
commitment for 5 years. Do you have any words of wisdom to help us with that 5-year commitment?
Number one thing is you got to find a friend who wants to go there with you. I mean, one of the best things I had was I had great friends, and it was a lonely journey.